What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Another Turnover, the basketball podcast where a basketball fan with zero basketball credibility gives his opinions on what's going on in the NBA. Opinions that nobody asked for. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Chris Aaron Murphy, aka Aaron, and ladies and gentlemen, let's just jump right into it. Folks, welcome back. Another episode. We are in Season 5, Episode 4 of Another Turnover, Week 4 of the NBA. And a lot has gone down over the past week. So let's get right into some hoops action. So first notable thing, I should say, for this week's episode, we've got a lot of smaller stories. I don't have a leading story again this week for what's gone down, a huge story, but a lot of smaller stories that I really wanted to, get into and give my 2 cents on. So like I said, let's jump right in. But first things first, we got to talk about Klay Thompson's return to the Golden State Warriors arena. He played his first game since leaving the Golden State Warriors, now a Dallas Maverick, if you are not familiar. But Klay Thompson played his first game back in the Bay, played pretty well overall. He had 22 points. He went 6 of 12 from three-point range. I think he went 7 of 17 from the field. So, I mean, not too bad. But I watched that game, or watched most of the game, because it was on late. And I have a gripe. These West Coast games starting at 9:30 Central Time, I can't do it. Your boy's got to go to bed. I got work in the morning. But that's neither here nor there. But the Warriors gave Klay a well-deserved tribute. I mean, he was there for, 12, 13 years? And I want to say he got drafted in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. But he was there for quite some time, helped them win 4 championships. I mean, the Warriors don't win 4 championships without Klay Thompson, and the organization knows that. So like I said, they gave him a really well-deserved tribute that was short, sweet, to the point. I think it was only like a minute or so long, but I think it was well-deserved, and the crowd gave him, raucous applause. So I was really happy to see that. But the Warriors spoiled Klay's return home by beating them 120-117 in the first game of the NBA Cup, or second game that aired of the NBA Cup tournament, the in-season tournament that the NBA is now implementing going forward. But pretty good game. I saw the highlights of the second half. Pretty good game. Seemed back and forth for most of the game. Steph Curry went off, had 37 points. I believe hit the go-ahead three-point shot against Derek Lively in that game. So, Steph was, doing his thing, and Klay Thompson talked about it in the post game, where essentially he's like, yeah, it sucks being on the other end of his flurries. So I'm sure that was kind of surreal, and seeing them guard each other, seeing, Klay and Draymond guard each other. It was kind of surreal. I mean, Klay's been the second Splash Brother, like I said, all these years. But, a really nice homecoming for Klay Thompson. I'm sure he would have wanted to get the victory, but the victory goes to the Golden State Warriors, winning 120-117. But next story, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo balling out for the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, he ain't really got a choice because he ain't got nobody else right now to help him out. But he dropped 59 points the other day. I want to say this was Wednesday. So Friday by the time you're listening to this. This was his past Wednesday. Dropped 59 points against the Detroit Pistons. Had 22, get this. The Bucks scored 24 points in the first quarter. Giannis had 22 of them. Like, those are like NBA 2K numbers, NBA My Career numbers. If you play My Career, where your player basically scores all the points. I mean, he had 22 of the Bucks' 24 points in the first quarter. The Bucks did actually win this game in overtime, 127-120. So they needed all of those 59 points to beat the Detroit Pistons at home. Again, I will say they needed 59 points from Giannis to beat the Detroit Pistons at home. But like I said, he was doing it all. Unfortunately, he has no help right now. Middleton still out with injury. Damian Lillard is also out with a concussion, if I'm not mistaken. I think they said he's dealing with the ramifications of a concussion. So hopefully he's back soon. But I mean, Giannis was doing it all. He had 14 rebounds. He had 7 assists in that game. So I mean, hopefully Middleton and Lillard come back soon to, get Giannis some help. I know I talked about, Giannis a couple weeks ago with, potential trade rumors and all that stuff, but nonetheless, doesn't stop from scoring 59 points the other day. So really, really solid job from Giannis Antetokounmpo. But other things going on around the league, the Cavaliers are still undefeated. As of the time of recording, they are 13-0. Their last victory coming Wednesday night, beating the Philadelphia 76ers. But the Cavs are 13-0, only the sixth team in NBA history to achieve this, to win their first 13 games in a row. The other teams who have won at least 13 games in a row, obviously the 2015-2016 Warriors, where they went 73-9. Didn't mean a thing because they didn't win the ring. The 03 Mavs also started out at least 13-0. The 1994 Rockets with led by legend Hakeem Olajuwon and crew. And then you had the 1958 Celtics, the 1949 Washington Capitals also at least getting 13 wins in a row. But those last two don't really count because that was a long time ago. We don't care. But no, I'm kidding. But the Cavaliers offensively, they're great. I was looking at their numbers, looking at their ratings. They are number one in offensive rating. They are also top 10 in defensive rating. But I'm going to sound crazy. It's going to sound crazy. I'm not sold on this Cavs team. I'm really not. I've seen, I watched some of the highlights. I haven't watched a full game of them, I will admit, but just not sold on this Cavs team. Unfortunately, I don't see it. I don't see a deep playoff run. I know that probably sounds crazy, but right now, obviously the Celtics, even though they are the second best team in the Eastern Conference record wise, I think it's their conference to lose. Is the correct way to say that? Could it be Cavs, Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals? Sure, but I don't know. There's just something about this Cavs team. I'm waiting to see, not necessarily when the bottom is going to fall out, but yeah, I guess for lack of a better term, I'm waiting to see when the bottom is going to fall out from this Cleveland Cavaliers team. But we'll see. I could be completely wrong because I've had a lot of bad takes. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But last few, things that have happened across the league this week. Spurs head coach Greg Popovich, it has been announced that he is recovering from a mild stroke that he suffered on November 2nd. Originally when I talked about Coach Pop being out, they didn't say what his, illness was. They just said it was an undisclosed illness, but they have come out and reported that, Popovich did suffer from a mild stroke. So prayers up to him. It has been also reported that he has already started rehabilitation and is expected to make a full recovery. However, there is no timetable for his return. So regardless of if he comes back to coaching, prayers up to Pop for a full and speedy recovery. I've already said last week, but I'm going to reiterate, he's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest coaches ever, the most winningest NBA coach. If he never coaches another game, he's still the GOAT. So I don't know if anyone's going to be getting close to his win record in the NBA. But prayers out to you, Coach. Hope you get better soon. Hope you get well soon and get back to 100%. But to transition, also speaking about the Spurs, we got to talk about, y'all know it was coming. Y'all knew it was coming. We got to talk about Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama put up his first 50-point game. The fourth youngest person to score 50 points. Y'all, Wemby is only 20 years old. 20 years old. What was I doing at 20? I was in college at 20, probably taking a stats class. This brother put up 50 points. And get this, at 7'4", 7'5", or however you want to put it, went 8 of 16 from 3-point field goal range. Shot 16 threes, which is crazy to think about somebody at his size, but made half of them. Made 8 3-point shots, which was also a career high. So in addition to him scoring 50, was a career high. So in the past 3 games in a row, he has made at least 6 3-point shots. I know there are some, people that give him some flack, myself included, for taking as many threes. But if he's going to be making 6 threes a game, which I'm sure he's not going to be making 6 threes a game consistently, but if he did, shoot him. Go ahead. What do I know? Who's blocking his shot? Who's going to block a 7'4", 7'5", player who can pull up from Curry range, basically, can shoot from the logo? Who's going to block it? So if he's still making them, keep shooting them, Wemby. But I mean, I know I'm biased. Obviously, I'm a Spurs fan, right? But I don't care. I can be biased. I really believe that Wembanyama has a really good shot of being the next GOAT, like being the next thing. Like, obviously, LeBron's on the tail end of his career. He's got a couple years left, more than likely, as far as, being in his prime and being, really number one, number two option. I think Wembanyama, I think he's it. Like, NBA goes in different eras. So you had, the Magic and Lair and Bird era. You had the Jordan era. You had the Kobe Shaq Lakers era, the LeBron era, the Curry era. I mean, that's the NBA goes in waves. Like, there will always be another star. So I think that Victor Wembanyama is going to be that next star, and I think he is going to exceed the already massive expectations and massive hype that he had coming into the league originally. So I am very excited. I mean, I think Wembanyama, he might actually be an alien. Like, I mean, with the way that he plays, I mean, especially being a force on both ends, it's just incredible. But so far this season, averaging 23 points, 10 rebounds, nearly 4 blocks per game, 3.8 to be exact, but nearly 4 blocks per game. No one else is averaging at least 3. Like, so I mean, I know we're early. We're 12, 13 games into the season, but he's got Defensive Player of the Year on lock. He better be in MVP considerations. He might not, but he should be. And like I said, I'm biased, but who cares? But if he stays healthy, man, I really think Wemby could be the next GOAT. I really, really do. If he stays healthy and the Spurs, continue to build a team around him with the pieces that complement him, I'm gonna say it. Spurs getting the chip in the next, I say, 3, 4, 5 years. Like, that's the window, 3 to 5 years for Wemby's first chip. So that put him on the high end 25, on the low end 23, 24. So I'm calling now. I mean, I don't even think that's a bold take because obviously the NBA is gonna want San Antonio Spurs to be good if Wembanyama's on the team, right? So Spurs getting another chip. It's a good time to be a Spurs fan. Like, we back. I think right now we're 10th in the West at 6-6, if I'm not mistaken. So, we got some work to do. But we gonna be all right. But it's a good time to be a Spurs fan again. We've had some rough years after being spoiled for all those years of going to the playoffs and winning championships and whatnot. But we gonna be back. We gonna be all right, and I'm very excited. But Wemby scoring his first 50-point game, the first of many, I am sure, in his very, very, hopefully, very long career. But before we wrap up here, got the marquee matchups. Got to talk about those. Reminder, keep playing marquee matchups. Even if you miss the first 3 weeks, you still got a chance to win the $25 gift card because it's all about participation. The more you participate in the Instagram stories that come out about 6:15, 6:30 Central Time on Friday on my page at Another Turnover. The more you participate, the more you participate in the marquee matchups, the higher the chance you have to win the $25 Amazon gift card. So this weekend, we've got, of course, the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Dallas Mavericks. And in the second game, you've got the Phoenix Suns taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves in a rematch from last year's first round in the Western Conference. So very excited to catch the highlights of both of those games, as well as the other games that are coming up. Tonight you've got the NBA Cup. You've got the Spurs and the Lakers playing. I didn't take a look at the other game schedule for the NBA Cup, but the NBA Cup is going to be tonight. If you're listening to this on Friday on ESPN, but ladies and gentlemen, that is all the show I have for you fine folks this evening. Again, like always, I appreciate you listening, watching. If you could do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, leave comments, I would greatly appreciate it. We've got plenty of hoops action coming up, not just NBA, but college as well. I do plan to, as college basketball picks up, and do plan to cover some college basketball, men and women, because the girls balling out. Paige Buckers, I mean, all of them balling out. But I'm very excited for hoops action this weekend. But as I always say, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next week.